Hello everyone, my name is Mehak and I would like to welcome you all to Kivitech webinar on decoding cross-border payments with Stellar. We bring you the third edition of webinar on Web3. In this webinar, our experts will break down how Stellar works, its benefits, and how you can use it to revolutionize your international payments to achieve a faster and cost-effective medium of transactions. Before we kickstart with the webinar, I would like to invite Sahil Luthra, Director of Engineering and Blockchain Practice, Kivitech, to give a quick overview of the company. Over to you, Sahil.
Hi, everyone. My name is Sahil Luthra, and I'm Director of Engineering and Blockchain Head at Kivitech. And on behalf of Kivitech and the Web3 team, I welcome you all on this talk for cross-border payments leveraging Stellar. So if you've never attended one of our sessions before, let me just share with you that our team regularly holds and hosts these sessions where the goal really is to share our learning and experiences from our projects and connect with like-minded individuals and experts out there and open the forums for any kind of discussions that we could have. And before we proceed further with the talk, let me just give you a brief overview of Kivitech and its ecosystem. We are more than a decade-old company, and at our core, there's a very strong, versatile team of 600 plus engineers, who have been working with really closely with more than 500 portfolio companies, delivering more than 1,500 projects out there, which eventually touch millions of users across the continents. And at our Center of Excellence, this is one of our, excuse me. An important part of our engineering team is our Center of Excellence, and Kivitech, it's basically Kivitech believes in investing in, the emerging tech and future. And our Center of Excellence is one step in the vision. Our Web3 team comprises of very sharp individuals, and they are dedicated to delivering the best of blockchain and DLT-based solutions. And at the same time, they are continually learning and establishing standards and best practices for the teams here. And our capabilities include, it depends really where you are in your product journey. You could be in ideation phase, or you could have like an established platform. If you're just starting, we have services where we work really closely with you and help you identify use cases, help you with proof of concepts, help you select right platforms. Or if you are already established platform looking to, add more features and partner with other integration partners, we can help you assess many things like, a feasibility, architectural assessment, and help you deliver the, technology roadmap. Specifically talking about the Web3 services, we have teams where we have a variety of skill set, where the projects ranging from different types of decentralized applications, leveraging NFTs as a platform, the NFT marketplaces, working on token development, customized smart contract development, and leveraging blockchain solutions like on a public and federated networks. And the products that we work, they fall under different domains, and not to list everything here, but in the interest of time, I'll just read out a few. So we have products working on healthcare, financial, insurance, retail, fashion, media, and then many more. And the team has acquired a very varied skill set, and within the tech stack, if you take a look at the current screen, they have projects where they've gained expertise on different type of wallet integrations, integration with different marketplaces, leveraging bridges for interoperable solutions, different type of blockchains, both in federated and public space, infrastructure that is needed for a blockchain-based solutions like Filecoin, IPFS, Infura. We have expertise working on different DeFi solutions where we integrate with different exchanges and payment providers. And when they do all this, they leverage tools like Truffle, Remix, programming languages like Solidity, Python, Java, JavaScript, and a variety of SDKs and standards. And we really believe in collaborating with our customers. So right from the start, we can engage with you, and like I said, we go hand in hand, and if you're in the initial stages, we'll work with you to help you discover the right use cases. And with that, in our expertise, we'll recommend the best solutions to you. And then match it up with a very skilled team to help you implement a quality product in a timely fashion. And then the journey doesn't end there. We continue that with a very solid support after the delivery. And then for all this, we follow agile because we truly believe in leveraging the feedback and validation when we're working in an iterative fashion. So overall, this is how we approach our projects. And without any further delay, I'd like to welcome Mohit and Piyush to take this further. Over to you, Mohit.
Yeah, thank you, Sahil, for the overview. Now, I would like to have your attention on your screens. We have recently introduced a referral program at Kivitech. So, this program rewards anyone who contributes to fruitful introductions to our company. Over the years, we have built this robust ecosystem of startups with the help of your trust and subsequent referrals. We realize it is the time we give due credit to this trust through our referral program incentives. So, if you know someone looking for tech development support to scale, join our referral program and follow the mentioned steps on your screen or visit our website to learn more, contribute to our health and growth journey, and earn incentives for your trust in us. Now, I would like to invite Mohit Bhagat, Senior Web3 Engineer, and Piyush Gupta, Web3 Engineer Kivitek, to kickstart the webinar on decoding cross-border payments with Stellar. Over to you, Mohit.
Hi,
Thank you.
and welcome everyone. My name is Mohit Bhagat, and I am a full stack engineer with around 7 years of experience. And I am a member of Kivitech's Web3 team, and I've been fortunate enough to be part of multiple projects leveraging Web3 solutions. So today, my colleague Piyush and I will be sharing our experiences and learnings from one such interesting exploration while solutioning for a project that involved use of Stellar for cross-border payment solution. So let us take a quick look at the agenda for today's talk. So first, we look into how traditional cross-border payments work and what are the challenges we face. So followed by that, we'll have a quick overview of our project. And to set the context, we'll briefly talk about what is distributed ledger technology and what are some benefits of using it. So with the basics in place, we'll discuss what are the possible alternatives for the cross-border payment solutions in the blockchain space. So then we'll take a closer look at one of such alternatives, that is Stellar, and how we leverage it for the proposed solution. And towards the end, we'll see some tools that are offered by Stellar and some organizations that are leveraging Stellar to build cross-border payment system. And let us understand these traditional way of transferring money across borders with an example of Swift. So suppose there is a user A who lives in Brazil and wants to send some money to his friend user B who lives in Japan. So the user A deposits some Brazilian reals into his local bank account. Now the local Brazilian bank may or may not have funds for Japanese yen. So the bank has to partner with some other international bank. So the whole process of transferring, exchanging Brazilian reals to Japanese yen could take place. Now, the less common the currency pair is, the more intermediary banks are involved. And such way of money transfer poses a variety of challenges. So the complete process is very slow, as the transaction has to go through multiple correspondent banks and institutions like the local banks, the central banks, and the overseas banks, obviously. So each of them have their own accounting system and their record needs clearing, and there's a constant need of reconciliation with the counterparties. And all this gets very expensive as fees gets accumulated right from the sender's local bank to the national and to the international bank. And there is always a forex conversion charge at each intermediary bank. So the charges are usually up to 3% if the volumes are high. But in case the payment amount is low, the charges can be rise up to 10%. And moreover, these charges and fees are not completely transparent because each of these banks is likely to do things differently, which makes it difficult to track the whole payment process and gain a clear picture of the overall cost and deductions. So this leads to hidden cost, and that is bared by the sender's bank and the sending user. So, and always there are some security and fraud concerns because customer is sharing their account information with these correspondent banks to complete the whole process. And such information is being shared across borders on platforms and merchants. And it is an easy target for frauds, usually in countries that have weaker security procedures in place. Okay, so now coming to our project. So at KiwiTech, we offer a wide range of solutions to our partners and clients, ranging from POCs to MVPs and all the way to enterprise level solution. So in this particular project, we joined hands with a partner whose vision was to build a platform using decentralized ledger technology for cross-border remittance. So it should be a revolutionary alternative to these existing traditional solutions. And the platform needed to have some key features like first, it should be inclusive for both B2B and B2C. B2B being the banks and financial institutions, and the B2C being the individual customers who might or might not have availability to banking infrastructures. So the platform needs to be more like cost and time efficient while transferring funds internationally. And lastly, it should be transparent in its operation. Like the end user can track the whole payment and there's no hidden cost. So what we did is we divided the whole project into two phases. The first phase being the discovery phase, where we explored multiple blockchain based solutions and we analyzed them, how we can fit those approaches into the client's vision. And finally, the implementation phase based on the blueprint that we created in the discovery phase. Now, before I jump in details of this project, let us briefly discuss what is distributed ledger technology. So I'm sure that everyone here is familiar with DLT and what are the benefits, but just for the sake of the flow, let me briefly highlight them. So distributed ledger technology is simply a digital system for recording transaction of assets in a way that these transactions and their details are recorded in multiple places, in multiple databases at the same time. So DLT, as compared to traditional centralized solutions, offer a more transparent approach and a trustless mechanism to share this information. And there is no need for central trust building authorities to build consensus. And since there are no intermediaries involved, it results in overall faster and cheaper transactions. So how DLT fits into the picture when we talk about cross-border payments? So we leverage some of the key features of DLT. That is one, like we eliminate all the intermediaries, not just the central trust building authorities that are required for reconciling the bank records, but instead of relying on this whole correspondent banking network, we can actually utilize the decentralized exchanges that would allow us to find the best path for the currency exchange and also minimize the fees that is incurred. And this whole process becomes very quick because we're removing all the intermediaries, and that also limits the risk of information leakage. And since we are using DLT, all the parties have the same copy of the ledger that can be actually stored on blockchain, and that makes the data more immutable and transparent in the sense that all the charges, the forex related fees, that is all visible. And most importantly, we can automate the whole process in a trustless manner, like by writing smart contracts. And these smart contracts can have some preconditions for triggering the sending and the receiving payment flows. Now we explored multiple solutions, but just for the of time, let us look at the close contenders. So first one is the Ripple. So Ripple, from the very beginning, was designed to be a replacement of Swift, or to otherwise replace the settlement layer between the major financial institutions and banks. So XRP is its native currency. And second is Stellar. So Stellar is blockchain-based distributed ledger that is designed to connect people and financial institutions. So the main goal is to have financial inclusion so that all individual customers also can access this cross-border payments, which are very cheap and easy to use, since Stellar is quite open source. So now let's look at some key differentiators between these two. So Ripple uses a permission ledger. So permission in the way that it only allows banks and major financial institutes Whereas Stellar is designed in a way that it is highly accessible, it is open source, and anyone can develop a service using Stellar Network. And the control of Ripple is mostly vested with its founders. At least like 20% of the initial tokens, the XRP tokens, are owned by the currency's founder. So they're aiming to regulate Ripple such that for to ensure its continued functionality. Stellar is maintained by a Stellar Development Foundation, which is non-profit organization, and most of the lumens, which is the native currency, was distributed among public on the release. And XRB, which is the native currency for Ripple, is deflationary in nature, meaning that the purchasing power of the currency is likely to increase, and there is a limited supply, and there's always increasing scarcity because the Ripple transaction fees is actually burned, or simply it is removed from the circulation. Meanwhile, Stellar has an annual inflation rate of 1%, and the inflation helps to maintain lower prices of Stellar lumens. So after understanding both the solution and comparing them with the client's requirement, we decided to choose Stellar to build the cross-border payment solution, because the client initially, although partnered with a bank, but at a later stage wanted that the platform can be used by individuals, and Stellar's payment system is designed in a way that it is accessible to people who don't have access to banking and major financial institutes. So it works for people in less developed countries that do not have same banking structures as the more economically developed countries have. And we are also expecting a very large number of transactions in a day, and knowing that Stellar provides more transaction per second than Ripple helped us. And Stellar's overall cost in the transaction is also lower than Ripple, and XRP being a deflationary coin, the prices are likely to increase in future. So we decided to move on with Stellar. So now I'll invite Piyush to tell you more about Stellar and its cross-border payment solution and how we leveraged it in our project. Over to you, Piyush.
So now, as we decided, hi everyone, my name is Piyush Gupta, and I am having 4 years of experience as a blockchain developer, and I am here working as with Kivitech as a Web3 engineer. So as we all know that we decided to move ahead with Stellar, so let us find out more about it and how we utilize its cross-border payment solution. So Stellar was developed in 2014 by Jet McCallum. It is an open source platform capable of executing reliable cross-border payments. Its native digital currency is called as Lumen, whereas XLM is the coin symbol, and it is mainly used to utilize to initialize the accounts and execute the transactions on the Stellar network. So there are many features of Stellar blockchain that make it a truly decentralized global exchange network. So let me highlight some important ones. So first is decentralization. Stellar is a decentralized network. It means that it operates without depending on a specific central authority. So this decentralized nature of Stellar moves the money quickly and efficiently to bring the coherence to the validation process. The processing time for a Stellar network in is about 2000 transactions per second. So each transactions get validated within 5 seconds. This tremendous speed makes the Stellar network more suitable for the cross-border payments. The average Lumen transaction cost in a transaction Stellar network is 600,000 of a cent. This cost is comparatively less than the transaction fees taken by other platforms. Hence, it is even cheaper than the fees charged for each transaction in the international wireframes. Last is the open source. Stellar code is designed to be quickly accessible, which means anyone can see, modify, and distribute the code accordingly. So this open source characteristic of Stellar allows anyone to participate as a user, validator, or an anchor in the Stellar network. So two of the main important elements involved in the cross-border payments on Stellar network are anchors and the assets. So let us understand what are these before we any go further. So assets are the entities that can tokenize any real-world asset and then be used for transfer or trade over the Stellar network. So assets could represent the fiat currency, bonds, carbon credits, or the gold. The anchors are the Stellar entities that offer off-ramp and on-ramp of assets on the Stellar network in cross-border payments by leveraging the connections with traditional banking rails. That is, which mostly means that anchor act as a bridge between the off-chain currencies and the currencies on the Stellar network. So as you can see in this image, there are some components other than anchor and assets like Horizon, Core Node, and SAP that work together to create a quick and secure payments on the Stellar network. So before jumping into working of cross-border payments, let's just discuss these components. So Horizon is a publicly available API which allows any decentralized application to interact with the Stellar network. Core Node is a open source software that act as the basis for participants in the network to reach a consensus, whereas SEP stand for Stellar Ecosystem Protocol, which defines the standard for building the infrastructure and are designed to help different entities such as asset issuer or other services provider to interoperate using a single common integration. So now that we know what are the key components of Stellar, let's discuss how cross-border works on the Stellar network. So as you can see in this image, when user 1 connects with the anchor 1 for cross-border payment, the anchor 1 connects with the Stellar network via Horizon and the core node, and then transfers the asset to anchor 2 via SCP-31, which mainly defines the implementation standard for cross-border payment on the Stellar network, and then the anchor 2's balance gets updated. So this whole process occurs with some seconds on the Stellar network due to the multiple nodes working at a single time. So during cross-border payment, there can be a scenario where there may or may not be the need of the asset conversion. So first is the simple case when the sending and the receiving assets are same. So in this type of scenario, the sending anchor will just send the asset to the receiving anchor without any asset conversion. Second is the case when the sending and the receiving assets are different from each other. Like at the beginning, when the Mohit explained an example when a user from Brazil wants to send a Brazilian reels to a user who lives in Japan as Japan yen. So to achieve such type of scenarios, Stellar offers various mechanisms. So first is a sending anchor asset conversion. So in this type of mechanism, sending anchor is responsible for asset conversion and must hold both the type of assets and will provide a code to the sending user for asset conversion. Next is the Stellar network asset conversion. So in Stellar network asset conversion, paths are maintained on the Stellar network via order book. And to achieve asset conversion, these paths are used by the sending anchor. Next is the receiving anchor asset conversion. So receiving anchor asset conversion works exactly same like sending anchor asset conversion. The only key difference is that in the receiving anchor asset conversion, the receiving anchor is responsible for asset conversion and must hold both the assets and will also provide the code to the sending user. So now that we have understood the basics of Stellar, let's see the key modules required as a part of our implementation. So we needed an anchor to facilitate the sending and the receiving of assets, an underlying asset to tokenize the real world currency over the Stellar network, and ability to do asset conversion in case when the sending and the receiving assets are different from each other, a partnership with other anchors who will play a vital role as a receiving or sending anchor for transfers over the Stellar network, and lastly, a provider or a node that connects us to the Stellar network. So having established these key modules, let's take a look at some of the few decisions, key decisions and choices we made during our exploration phase. So for both anchor and asset implementation, we have to decide whether to build them from the scratch or leverage an existing asset or anchor and use their services on the Stellar network. Since the client was building the solution for a certain geographic location, and at the time of our exploration, there were no other verified anchors for that particular location. And additionally, there were no other asset that could represent one-to-one mapping for the client's local fiat currency on the Stellar network. So hence we decided to build anchor and the asset from the scratch. So next challenge was an asset conversion, which means we have to decide which method should be used for asset conversion. So as we discussed earlier, Stellar provides three mechanisms to achieve the asset conversion. So we thought to use both Stellar network asset conversion and receiving anchor asset conversion, so that other anchors on the Stellar network can achieve asset conversion for our asset from either of the way. So next challenge was whether to have a dedicated Horizon server and core node, or to leverage the Stellar provided Horizon server and core node for transaction validation. Since we have to build a MVP product, so we decided to leverage Stellar's provided Horizon and a core node. And if it's required, we can build a dedicated one for our application in the future. So last challenge was to establish partnership with other anchors who will play a vital role as a receiving or a sending anchor for transfer over the Stellar network. So Stellar provides a tool called as Anchor Directory, where verified anchors are published. So we decided to utilize that tool, and we also decided to maintain a local directory on our application by saving the details that they required for for cross-border payments. So since we have to build a MVP product quickly, so the next task was to identify and evaluate the possibility of leveraging any existing solution. So Stellar provides a reference implementation which is in Python using Django framework called as Polaris. So this reference implementation has the skeleton implementation that are required for an anchor implementation. So we decided to utilize this implementation and enhance it by integrating it with the real KYC providers and with banking rails. So to summarize, our proposed implementation should comprise of an admin portal. So this was going to decide. So we thought to build it as a web-based portal where admin can perform admin-related activities such as maintaining the anchor's local directory or asset management. Next, there is going to be a sending service anchor implementation. So this service will directly called by the bank to initiate the cross-border payment. This service will also be integrated with real KYC provider to verify the KYC details of both the user, and will also verify if the fiat money has been successfully transferred to the anchor's bank account or not. Next is receiving service implementation. So this service will be directly called by the others anchor on the Stellar network, and will also integrate with the real KYC provider and a banking rails for verifying the KYC details of both the user and transferring the fiat currency to the end user's bank account. Additionally, we also thought of maintaining a audit trail by step-by-step recording of transaction changes like addition, deletion, and updation of data, so that the data can be traced to their source. So here's a bird's eye view of the solution that we have offered to the client. So in the middle, there are two boxes which represents the sending flow and the receiving flow. In the left hand side, there is a KYC provider for verifying the KYC details of both the users. In the right hand side, there is a banking rails for transferring the amount to the end user bank account. In the bottom middle, there is a database that was going to be an application database for managing the local anchor directory and asset management. And in the bottom left corner, there is a legend in which the black ones represent the sending flow and the white one represents the receiving flow. So we also took the advantage of many Stellar's great set of tools and wanted to share their benefits with others to ease their development process. So Transaction Explorer is used to explore the transactions and network activity on the Stellar Expert. Kelp is an open source trading bot for Stellar Universal Marketplace. Anchor Directory is used to view all the anchors on Stellar, their currencies, and their details pertaining to their operations. Account Viewer is used for checking the account and sending payment basic details. Stellar Laboratory is used to build, sign, and submit the transactions to the network. So finally, just want to highlight that there are many other established organizations that have partnered with Stellar for cross-border payment solutions. For example, Stellar and MoneyGram are jointly expanding their global access to digital assets and financial services worldwide. They are doing this by enabling the users to top up their digital wallet balance with cash transactions. Users can complete KYC and confirm the transactions through MoneyGram's user-friendly interface. So to wrap up, I would finally summarize this talk by saying that Stellar is one of the most promising cross-border payment platform, and with its diverse features, anyone can easily perform cross-border transactions in a matter of seconds. In a very limited time, Stellar blockchain allows new organizations to quickly gain entry and extend their financial access to the unserved communities. I would encourage you to definitely explore its offering if you have a relevant use case. So thank you everyone, and I hope this session was helpful in explaining the working of cross-border payments on the Stellar network.
Thank you, Mohit and Piyush, for the insightful session. Now, I would like to request audience to send in their questions in the chat or in the Q&A feature on Zoom below. So we have few questions in the chat box. The first question is Lumen a smart contract enabled coin? I mean, does it run its own blockchain?
So I'll take that question. So Stellar has its own blockchain, and the native currency is Lumens, but Lumens is not based on any smart contract. So currently, the organization SDF that is working on introducing smart contracts capabilities to Lumens, but currently, as of now, there is no smart contract capability on Lumens.
All right. So the next question is how Facebook's Libra model is different from the Stellar network.
So Libra, like Ripple, is also kind of centralized, as in the power vests with Facebook, and it is not open source as Stellar. So it is also permissioned, as only the limited major banking financial organization can join, and it is not as decentralized as Stellar is. So it makes most sense to have a decentralized finance solution for cross-border payments, since the fees and charges are not that transparent. So Stellar in that case is a better option.
All right. So the next question is, what is the estimated cost of implementing a blockchain payment collector in LATAM?
So it basically depends on the use case. So you can reach us to us, and we can share you the details.
Okay. So the next question is, can people build on Stellar?
Yes, like people can build anchor services on Stellar. So where you can have a core node, or you can also host the Horizon API, or you could utilize the core nodes and Horizon API that Stellar offers. So you can build a anchor service to facilitate the like on ramp, off ramp, and the cross border payments. So on ramping, you can take the fiat money and convert it for exchange it for a digital fiat, and then you can use the Stellar's order book to send it across to any other geographic area.
Okay. So I would like to ask the next question. It is, could there be a crypto anchor on the Stellar network, and what value do they provide?
So yeah, crypto anchors works the same way as compared to the normal anchor. Normal anchor will mainly deal with the fiat-backed assets on the Stellar network, whereas crypto anchor will deal with the crypto-backed assets on the Stellar network. So you can think of a scenario when if somebody wants to transfer crypto assets on the Stellar network as a cross-border payments, and they don't want to go to any exchange platform for that. So the sender will directly connect with an anchor who accepts that crypto, and then that anchor will connect with that sending user's location anchor and then transfer it. So that whole process will be more cheaper and quicker on the Stellar network as compared to any other blockchain network.
Okay. So there is one more question that I have. Who determines the fees that an anchor can charge for these services?
So
Most of the anchors, it's the mainly it's the anchor who decides the fees and they are what they're going to charge, and it also depends on their end user, which can either be the business or a consumer. So I think service charge moreover also depends on how your business model is and how you have structured your anchor services.
Okay. So is Stellar working on any interoperable solutions?
So yes, they are working to introduce smart contract capabilities, but the scope of that would be limited, and they do not have a clear uh, scope if NFTs could be transferred or not. So as of now, there is no such capabilities.
Okay. And how do you manage the exchange rates of an asset in Stellar so that they don't drift from real world exchange rates?
So most of the anchors right now actually work with some external market makers for managing the exchange rate. But Stellar provides, but if someone wants to do it by themselves, so for them, Stellar provides a tool called as Kelp that can manage the exchange rates inside the Stellar decentralized exchange, or they can also manage it on external exchanges as well.
All right. So is there any insurance that cover losses in case of Stellar failure?
So Stellar does not cover any such losses, but your anchor implementation could actually cover those losses. That depends on the anchor, but Stellar as of now does not offer any insurance on that.
Okay. And how does the auditing and checks work for the reserve deposits and balances in anchor bank accounts?
So that also mostly depends on the anchor itself. So if anchor is a major financial institute, it is their responsibility to provide their customers an assurance that they are backing the digital currency with actual fiat. So if they're legit, they will have to publish their audit reports on their websites, and we that can be linked to the SCP standard which they need to follow, and they can upload that URL and get that attested.
Okay, thank you for the responses. Now I would like to close the webinar by thanking the speakers and the guests who took out time from their busy schedule and registered for this webinar. I hope that the webinar was informative and well worth your time. We host events, webinars, and workshop on a weekly basis, and we hope you will attend our upcoming events soon. Till then, take care, stay safe, and wish you a very happy and prosperous new year.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you all.